everybody. We're here today to acknowledge, I think is probably the right term, that it's 4 years since Sheffield Council declared a climate and ecological emergency. Well, 4 years since it declared a climate emergency and about a year since it declared an ecological emergency. And we've got some speakers from the relevant parties. It's really important to remember that the parties in the council are now all working together, so they may not want to be quite as critical as they might want to be personally of what's going on, because they're criticising themselves if they are. So that's a reality. I'm of an age where I remember a lovely song, "You've done too much, much too young." And I think it's a reality that the council has done far too little, far too late. We really have a climate emergency which we haven't responded to. We have a plan to have a plan which might be completed by a task and finish group which has yet to start meeting, because we haven't actually got round to dealing with the biggest emergency that humanity is facing. We have 40,000 people dying, 40,000 people dying just from air pollution, not from heat, not from any of the other health effects of climate change, but 40,000 people, 1 every 8 minutes, dying in the UK from air pollution. And yet our council has not actually got a clear plan for what they can do, whereas other councils around the country with the same lack of funding have, whether that's Nottingham with their car park charging and using that to improve local transport, whether that's micro homes in Bristol, whether that's Wiltshire making homes warmer, whether that's Wirral with their tree strategy. I would talk about trees in Sheffield, wouldn't we? And whether it's Lancaster, who've managed to align their local plan entirely with the climate and ecological emergency, whether that's Dundee and renewable energy, whether that's Stroud and encouraging renewables, whether that's Warrington and the community municipal bonds. I could go on, but it is rather boring, other than to say other people are doing it. Other people are doing it successfully. Other councils who don't have any more money than we have are achieving it. So why can't Sheffield Council actually have a plan which impacts on renewables, which impacts on ensuring that our homes are all warmer, which impacts on making sure that we have less air pollution and not just in a minute area in the centre of the town, which impacts on improving the health and life chances of everybody, because air pollution doesn't just cause a little bit of asthma and a little bit of people dying. It also causes diabetes, heart attacks. It kills people. It's making an enormous effect, and we are not doing enough in Sheffield.
Great. Hi everyone, I'm Minesh. I'm a Labour and Cooperative Councillor in Sheffield, in Croxley Gospel. I'm speaking as a representative of the Labour Group today. We know that the climate and ecological emergency is the greatest threat we all face. We want to see a full mobilisation of the council proper to meet its threat. This is a challenge that can't be solved by one political party, which is why we've established the cross-party working group to cohere efforts to tackle the climate crisis. Our pathways to decarbonisation can't just exist as strategies and plans, which is why the council is committed to decarbonisation roadmaps to set out the material changes that are needed. There's a need to work completely in partnership with local communities and climate activists. At the same time as we need to rapidly decarbonise at scale in a way that protects jobs and communities, we also need to deepen our democratic structures, enabling the full participation and partnership of networks like the Climate Alliance to build a genuinely citywide response. I will just mention though, after the previous speaker, the council does have a clean air zone, which does all we're able to do to tackle air pollution, which kills 500 people in Sheffield a year. We do have a community wealth building strategy which gives priority to sustainable and clean businesses. We are developing a renewable energy strategy. We're looking to decarbonise social housing at scale. I will agree that much more needs to be done much more quickly, and I was elected last year on a pledge to do that. But we shouldn't neglect what work is already happening. What I will say is we can't overlook that this climate crisis isn't just felt locally, it's felt nationally and internationally. The world we live in and the economic order that predominates is oriented towards resource extraction and profit, causing the ruin of planet and people both. What we need, in the words of the IPCC, is an unprecedented mobilization of resource and political will. That necessarily needs a change in government nationally for the reversal of austerity, for local authorities to be given the resources we need to decarbonise housing at scale, to build our own industrial strategies, to champion green manufacturing, to own and provide our own buses and run them according to need rather than profit, and it means to generate renewable energies at scale to transition our economy. We can't do everything we need to alone. And I think what I will say is we need to do everything we can do right now to support the transition, and I'm working within the council, as I'm sure our green partners are too, to do that. But we can't neglect the national impact. We can't neglect the international picture. We can't neglect the national international picture. We can't forget that this is a crisis that's impacted everywhere. The climate crisis doesn't disregard borders, it doesn't just focus on individual cities. We need an unprecedented mobilisation of resources across the country and across the world. Sheffield can't do this alone.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm Gilligan. I'm a councillor, a Green councillor here in Sheffield, and I'm also on the Transport, Regeneration and Climate Committee, so I have a lot of things on my plate to look at. I will acknowledge, and I think we all here are, climate change is the biggest challenge facing humanity. And all of us, including Sheffield City Council, have wasted a lot of time failing to act. But as Minesh said, it's not just Sheffield City Council, it is across the world, and it is our local government. And the social and economic upheavals will only increase if we don't start to act soon. I want to talk to you about what Sheffield is doing. We have pledged to achieve net zero. We are working towards that. Our route maps to net zero are meeting and we are discussing actions, but we do need to move faster. I will acknowledge that. The council, though, has faced massive Tory budget cuts over the last decade. We've lost 29% of our income as a city over the last 10 years. That's over a quarter of our budget. That equates to £828 per household in Sheffield. This is money we no longer have. This lack of resources is impacting the actions we can take. We're using the reserves again this year to balance our budgets, when we'd much rather be using this money to bring in green energy and to transition to our net zero. I just want to talk a bit about transport because that's what I know about. Transport makes up 26% of the carbon emissions in Sheffield. The easiest and quickest way to cut these emissions is to reduce the amount of car journeys. We are trying to do that. You might have heard of low traffic neighbourhoods and the active travel incentives that we're bringing in. We're trying to increase opportunities for walking and cycling across the city. We're putting in cycle lanes. We are changing the way people can drive through neighbourhoods to make neighbourhoods cleaner and safer for people to drive. But we can't always do what we want to do because local people don't understand what we're doing and they protest and they take down some of the measures we're trying to do. And that's one of the things I would like to ask all of you here today is you need to go out and help us to do what we're trying to do. We want to make neighbourhoods that are cleaner, safer, greener, so people feel happier and safer walking and cycling. That's one of the things we are trying to do. We know Sheffield's roads are not safe. EVs won't reduce the congestion. I'll also acknowledge that the poor bus service we have at the moment doesn't encourage people to get out of their cars. As a Green Party, we've long been saying we need to take the buses back into public control so we can run a bus service that works in Sheffield. But Sheffield City Council doesn't run the buses yet. Let's see, we'd like to. Another thing we have to do though, bus operators tell us one of the reasons the buses are not profitable is the congestion that reduces their ability to meet their journey times. We try to put in bus lanes that make it easier for buses to move, so we might get some more bus services. But again, we meet with lots of protests of people saying that it interferes with their life. So I think I want to echo what Minesh said. We all have to work on this. Sheffield City Council can't do it alone. It's trying, it's doing what it can, but we need all of you to support us and be spreading the message of how we can change things. We also are looking at retrofitting homes. The Green Party put a motion to Council to bring in Energy Sprung to retrofit council homes. We should have started on a retrofit programme decades ago. Yeah. But we haven't got the money to do it yet. The government instead gives billions in subsidies and tax breaks to fossil fuel companies for more exploration of oil and gas, which is killing our planet. Imagine if those billions had been spent on retrofitting our homes, generating renewable energy, cutting the energy bills for everybody in Sheffield. That's what we'd like to see. Yeah. So really, that's about all I've got to say. The Green Party has the commitment to do things. It is trying to do as much as it can. We are in a committee system. We're working with other councillors to try and bring things forward. But as I said before, we need all of you to work with us, to help us, to reduce car journeys, to walk and cycle more, to create warm homes and green jobs. So Sheffield, can we all step up together to achieve net zero? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christine. Thank you much from the Green Party and from Labour for reminding us that this is something which we need to be putting pressure on them and working with our neighbourhoods. But there are other people who also wanted to speak today, and I think we've got Dawn here from Sheffield Wildlife.
Where are the Lib Dems?
We could ask where the Lib Dems are, and I can't hear an answer from anybody here because they were invited. They were invited, but people who don't come don't speak. That's normally the way.
Hi, can you hear me? Hey! Thank you. So I'm from Nature Recovery Sheffield and my name's Dawn. And I've got a little bit of a verse that I need you to help me out with throughout this little bit of a speech I've got. So during the course of the speech I'll be saying, promises are not enough, and I'd like you all to shout out, this is an emergency and we need action now. Can we just have a little bit of a practice with that now? Promises are not enough. This is an emergency. We need action now. Brilliant, thank you. So Nature Recovery Sheffield are a movement of individuals, businesses and organisations, and we recognise the essential role that nature plays and the urgency to defend our wildlife and its survival, that same nature that we depend on for our survival. Promises are not enough. This is an emergency and we need action now. Sorry, I need to put my specs on, I can't see. The UK is one of the most nature depleted countries in the world, with only about half its biodiversity left. Promises are not enough. This is an emergency and we need action now. In 2021, a nature emergency motion was carried with a commitment to a nature emergency action plan for Sheffield. Promises are not enough. This
is an emergency. We need action now.
We heard promises to relax mowing regimes and the cultivation of meadows to support bees and insects for their survival. Promises are not enough. This is an emergency, and we
need action now.
Promises to continue the much promoted Greater Green Scheme for Sheffield that's now been postponed to be delivered in instalments over years. Promises are not enough.
This is an emergency,
and we
need action now.
The state of our climate and declining biodiversity is an emergency of the highest level. We are here to deliver a message to our council loud and clear today. Promises are not enough. This is an emergency, and we need action now.
Good afternoon, are we all right? Come on, are we all right?
We're all right.
That's better because there's going to be a bit more audience participation with me here. We're going to make some noise. We're going to let Sheffield City Council know that we're here and that we want some action. We're ready for it?
Yes!
Good. Thank you. Bit of drum, I love it. Right, so this is, as we all know, the 4th anniversary of Sheffield City Council's declaration of a climate emergency. However, I'm not here today to have a go at them. I'm here to talk about ambition. I'm here to talk about ambition and opportunity. Because, get this, Sheffield City Council can fight the cost of living crisis and the climate crisis at the same time. How good's that? It bloody well is, because it turns out, right, I mean, I've only been listening to experts, right, I'm not a scientist, but it turns out that the causes of the cost of living crisis and the climate crisis are the same. Who'd have thought that, eh? It turns out that all these nasty, bloody expensive fossil fuels that we're having to burn are far more expensive, 9 times more expensive than renewables, yeah? Yes. And 9 times, Michael, that's quite correct. Good job you're paying attention, Michael. And it also turns out that we've got the leakiest homes in Europe. I think that deserves a boo. Boo! The leakiest homes in Europe. A third of our emissions are coming from our homes. Not good. However, it also turns out that not only are the causes the same, but the solutions of the cost of living crisis and the climate crisis are the same too. I think that deserves a cheer. Yeah, on a bit of draw, I love it, yes. So, we at Greenpeace have been asking our MPs, because they're, them people in government, remember them, we're asking our MPs to do more, okay? We're telling our, hold it up, blood, this is my beautiful assistant, you might have met Dawn before. So we're asking our MPs, I'm going to read it out, just the last bit, don't worry, it won't be long. The government needs to support people to get clean, cheap energy for their homes by investing in insulation, heat pumps and renewable energy. This will boost the economy and local jobs and help our country meet the climate targets. So I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, Richard, stop banging on about the government. We're here to talk about Sheffield City Council. But it turns out that Sheffield City Council can do the same kind of things, can't they? Because as Michael mentioned earlier, Sheffield City councils all over the country are already doing it. So here today we say, Sheffield City Council, be ambitious. Let me hear you. Sheffield City Council,
be ambitious.
Louder than that. Sheffield City Council,
be ambitious.
In Manchester, they're training up a retrofit workforce that'll create 55,000 jobs by 2040. We say, Sheffield City Council, be ambitious. Over at Liverpool City Council, they're improving insulation in private rented accommodation through improving licensing laws. We say, Sheffield City Council,
be ambitious.
Just over at North East Derbyshire, they're retrofitting council homes with heat pumps and insulation. Yeah. We say Sheffield City Council.
Be more ambitious.
And get this right, Southerners are doing it as well. It's not just the Northern councillors, right? Believe it or not, yeah, I know it's hard to believe, but Southern councillors are doing it too. In Cambridge, right? They're aiming to make all the buildings that they own and operate fossil fuel free, that's not easy to say with your teeth out, by 2025. And part of that is going to be developing solar projects, more solar panels. So, the main point is, it's already happening, okay? This change, this revolution's already happening. And we in Sheffield, we want to be proud. Do we want to be proud? Yeah! Do we want to be climate leaders? Yeah! We blooming well do. So we say, Sheffield City Council, be ambitious. One more time, Sheffield City Council,
Be ambitious.
Thank you.
So we've got one last speaker who I'm sure will also share a need to encourage us to be ambitious, to make sure that we go for a Green New Deal which brings jobs and which brings collaboration, because those are core to how we need Sheffield City Council to respond. Martin from the Trades Council.
Yeah, thanks very much. I'm really pleased to join you today, and thanks so much for organising this protest 4 years on from Sheffield declaring a climate emergency. This climate emergency is very real. Unlike our lovely previous speaker, I'm sorry I'm not quite so funny as him, but we completely agree that the climate, the actions we need for climate are the same as the actions we need to confront the cost of living crisis. We've got really serious poverty here in this country. We've got people on desperately low incomes, whether it's on universal credit or on low-wage jobs. We've seen a cost of living crisis fundamentally caused by the exploitation of our fossil fuels industry by the big energy companies who are paying virtually no taxes, by the way, and making absolutely massive profits, which is shifting the wealth from the poor to the rich as we speak. So we're in the trade union movement. We've been fighting alongside you for a number of years now. I want that to continue. We've created here the South Yorkshire Climate Justice Coalition of climate activists and trade unionists working together. I want to say that on behalf of workers in trade unions in this city, that we're completely behind you, linking together green and red. We are stronger, and we need to fight together to achieve a transformation of our economy, a transformation that must be led by massive public spending and investment. That's why we have to tackle this politically at a national level, with a government that is talking about tax cuts for the rich rather than investment in what we need. But if we invested in that green transformation, we could be creating thousands, tens of thousands of new green jobs. We could be reducing the cost of living for ordinary working people in their homes. We could be insulating particularly the poorer homes, but let's start with our council housing and social housing. We could be investing in new green energy. We could be transforming our public transport system, getting people out of their cars onto our buses and trams. That's what we need to do, brothers and sisters. We're sharing the same views. We can work together, making our voice louder, and achieve what we need to achieve to transform this economy and make life better for us all at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just want to finish by asking everybody to just repeat the request that we're really making of the council and of the councillors as they mark 4 years, which is that we need them to be ambitious. Can we have it again? Be ambitious! I didn't hear that. I didn't hear any drumming either. Be ambitious! Be ambitious! Thank you all very much.